Manchester United once again lost at home against Brighton. They lost 3-1 against Brighton. It's the third time, I believe, in a short period of time they've conceded 3 goals at home, right? And they're still languishing below mid-table, not really at the relegation zone, but they're struggling, right? And following this game, Coach Ruben Amorim gave all of us a headline, and he says that this is the worst Manchester United team ever. You've watched a few Manchester United teams in your time. Do you agree with that?
You know what? We've been in mediocrity for so long that it's hard to even pick in terms of are they that bad, because as much as yes we are 13th if I'm not mistaken at this point in time, even when we were high up in the table, we've been bad. Like we started the season with when we just got Erik ten Hag with like 3 losses on the bounce. We got beaten by Brighton, got beaten by Brentford, 4-0 and stuff like that, and you're like, this is bad, you know? So I think it's hard to then say that this version, because this run of form has been all too familiar. So look, I think in terms of where we are in the league, because at least under Ole and under Ten Hag, if we'd struggle away, but at home we'd secure the points. And here it doesn't matter whether we're home or away, we're losing anyway. And so I think maybe those words are true, because he did say a couple of weeks ago as well that relegation is a real threat. So I think he's trying to be frank and real stark about it. But I'll borrow from Owen Hargreaves' words in terms of when he said there's a couple of players from Brighton who would make it into the Man United starting 11, and there aren't many Man United players who would get into any of the sides in the top 4. And if you look at it from that perspective, and then you look at the run of results, maybe this is the worst United side ever. Because if I think about it, I'm not really excited about Xerxes. As much as I think that Højlund has got potential, he's not really the guy, is he? When you look at the defense, Daro's good, Mazraoui's good, but De Ligt, Sandro Martinez, Maguire, I'm not too sure still on the fence. As much as they've had stand-up performances here and there, like I said, they don't walk into the top 4. Then Onana looked good for a bit, you know. Even though we were struggling, you could say at least he's pulling off key saves in terms of allowing United to rescue a point here and there. Even in games that United are winning, he has to put on like a show at the back as well. He's got a mistake in him as well in that particular game. Then the midfield, Jay has got question marks all over it in terms of what is going to work for you, because seemingly Bruno's not quite at the races. Ugarte has a good game here and there. Mainly not the same player he was last season. And so that continues with the rest of the team. The only shining light in Man United is Amad Diallo. And if we can only speak about one player in the entire team, maybe this is the worst version, Jay. And maybe it's hard to come to terms with that particular statement, but we thought to ourselves, Amorim is here, it should be better. It's gone worse from Erik ten Hag, the guy we were all saying should be sacked. If you go worse than that, then surely you are one of the worst teams, because the thing about Erik ten Hag is that they were open the whole time. They were conceding goals. They went to Liverpool, conceded 7. We're getting smashed 6 by City. And you're like, this team is getting smashed and slapped around by every other opposition. Then Amorim comes, and then it's the same, you know. And what's worse about this one is that we play well against Arsenal, we play well against City, play well against Liverpool, but we're getting slapped by Bournemouth, getting slapped by Brighton, getting slapped by Newcastle on the regular. So that tells us where we are, because the truth of the matter is, as much as we can be happy against Arsenal and against Liverpool, we don't play those sides very often. You only get to play them 6 times. If you want to add Chelsea, 8 times a season. But the rest of the guys whom you should be getting points from, those are the guys that are beating you. So I don't want to fully agree, but the writing's on the wall, Jay. I think reluctantly so, I have to say that maybe this is the worst version, because we haven't been this low since 1990. So as far as I've been alive, it must be the worst side.
That's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
That is a crazy thing to say in terms of the form of this team, right? And when you consider the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era and everything that has been a frustration, every iteration of this team that has ended with the Manchester United fans calling for the head coach, being unhappy with the state of the team, the state of the ownership, the signings that are brought on, the players that are there, to then go from there and go even further down. I was, after the North London derby, as an Arsenal fan myself, I went there, of course, looking at the table, and I spot that Tottenham are, at the time, they were in 13th place. And I actually did not realize that that's how far down Tottenham were, how bad of a season that they've been having, and they've been having a terrible season. I believe they've lost 6 on the bounce now. And while I was looking for Spurs, they were United 2 places below them. And even that caught me completely off guard because, again, yes, I know that United have been having a difficult season, but I did not realize that they're having a 13th to 15th place type of season. And then when you consider the numbers, Chuck, you see why they are down there. And you see why the coach is making that pronouncement that they're the worst Manchester United team ever. 11 points from 11 league games under this manager, 10 losses already at this point, 22 games into the season, the earliest that they've reached 10 losses in a Premier League season. And you also consider the fact that after 22 games, Manchester United are on 26 points. That doesn't compute. That it makes no sense.
If it was cricket, it'd be better. Like 22
it really
runs
makes no sense. 22
balls.
games. You want to tell me that you're averaging barely a point a match? That is crazy. It's not the worst Manchester United team of all time. Manchester United have been relegated before, so one of those teams would be the worst of all time. But in the Premier League, and as you say, like in our lifetime, yeah, I thought Manchester United had reached rock bottom. And maybe you look back on the Eric Ten Hag days, which brought the Carabao and an FA Cup as well, and you wonder, were things that bad? You know, you cry out for what seems like are the greener pastures of the white and green at Sporting, and it arrives and you think to yourself, maybe now this was not the right decision. And it's a scary prospect for United fans to be thinking that maybe this might not be the person, you know.
And now we're no longer scared. We've been beaten up so much. That's why to you were shocked with that United at that low, because their form has been so poor the whole time. Okay, that's probably more honest.